this is the first speech where there was no mention of poo or pee. Although she did talk about diaper changing.
That's a new vocabulary term, diapering.
Diapering, is that a word?
Yeah,
okay.
Imagine, if you will, that Birmingham is hosting the World Ping Pong Championships, and yours truly is the organizer for this event. Now, just before the start of the tournament, though, I realized that we have a ping pong ball shortage. So I make a frantic trip to Sam's to buy a tub of 200 ping pong balls. But as I'm leaving the store, I trip on the curb, sending 200 ping pong balls all over the asphalt. I look down and embarrassed. I regain my balance. And when I look down, I'm astonished to find all 200 balls are lined up in 10 perfect rows of 20. Now I have a question for you. Could I ever, in a million years, convince you that this actually happened?
No.
Could I ever convince you of that? Yet, of course I couldn't. Yet that is what those who believe in Darwin's Origin of the Species would have you to believe. That this overwhelmingly complex, organized planet, with all the diverse life on it, with its harmonious design and function, is simply a random act. Something that happened by accident. Now, I could literally spend an hour on this and barely scratch the surface, but what I will attempt to do in 5 to 7 minutes, more likely 8, I will argue the case that an intelligent creator designed and made this planet and all that inhabits it. And I'll do it by making 3 main points. Number 1, proof of a creator. I can prove there is a God who created this world without even mentioning God or the Bible. Here's how. When you see a painting, how do you know there was a painter? How do you know? The very existence of the painting is 100% scientific proof that there was a painter. Even though you've never met this person, you don't know if they're alive or dead, you have absolute certainty a painter exists. To say otherwise would be insane. The same is true for a building. When you see the ornate and intricate architecture in a building, you have absolutely no doubt that a builder exists. The same is true for creation. Its very existence, which is infinitely more complex than any painting and any building, is absolute proof, startling proof of a creator. The next point is randomness. Now, that randomness is a key tenet of the evolutionist debate. And it's this theory that a moment of chaos created order. A spontaneous Big Bang explosion formed the Earth and started the slow, random evolution of millions of distinct animals. Let me give you a few examples to illustrate the ridiculousness of this notion. You've all heard of the Gallup poll, where George Gallup, who founded that, was a famous statistician, and he said, I can prove God statistically. He said, take the human body alone. The chance that all the functions of the individual could just happen is a statistical monstrosity. So what did he mean by that? Well, let's look at just the skeletal system. If there are any bones missing or out of place, the skeleton will not function properly. The adult skeleton has 206 bones. Anyone want to take a guess how many combinations you can have with 206 bones? How about 10? With 375 zeros after it. There is one chance to get it right. Does that sound like the random occurrence to you, or the careful design of an intelligent being? Did you know the human eye has 40 million nerve endings? And the focusing muscles move an estimated 100,000 times per day, and the eye contains 137 million light-sensitive cells. It contains lashes for the express purpose of keeping debris out of the eye, and it generates fluid to lubricate and help the eye work at its optimal level. Charles Darwin himself said, "To suppose that the human eye could have been formed by natural selection, I freely confess, is absurd in the highest degree." And finally, most Darwinists would emphatically say, there is no God. That is what is known as an absolute statement. And for an absolute statement to be true, I must have what? Absolute knowledge. Here's an example. I can say there's no gold in China. Now, in order for that statement to be true, I must know there is no gold in China, or the statement is incorrect. To say there is no God and be correct, I must be omniscient, all-knowing, infinitely wise. I must know how many hairs are on every head, every thought of every human heart, every detail of history, every atom within every rock. Nothing is hidden from my eyes if I know that kind of information. I know the intimate details of the secret love life of the fleas on the back of the black cat of Napoleon's great-grandmother. I know everything. To make the absolute statement, there is no God, I must have absolute knowledge that there isn't one. So for me, the evidence of God is overwhelming, and science is actually proving to be the folly of Darwinism. When Charles Darwin was alive, the cell was considered to be no more than just a glob of ooze. Speaking on his book, The Origin of the Species, Darwin said, "Over the years, if any part of this theory proves false, when technology catches up with what I've written here, and if any part of it proves to be false, then the entire hypothesis falls like a house of cards. If he were alive today, with our insight into the intricate design and inner workings of the factories inside cells, many believe Darwin would abandon the entire concept." So I hope this gives you reason to pause and think about this and ask questions. It's an ambitious topic in 5 to 8 minutes, and I hope that if anyone would like to continue discussing it over lunch, I am ready, willing, and able. Thank you very much.